All right. So today we are having a lunch and learn. Welcome to about providing support through the loneliness epidemic. And I'm Mara McLaughlin. I'm a speech language pathologist and the founder of IRL Social Skills. I have spent my career working as an autism specialist in the schools. And I was appointed to the Oregon Commission for Autism by former Governor Kate Brown. And I've been a disability advocate since age 15 for a lot of neurodivergent people in my family. My special focus in the schools was getting non-speaking autistic students a functional way to express themselves. And I noticed that even those who could speak, who were perhaps even doing well academically, were struggling socially. And social skills are where the rubber hits the road. So my business provides online group social skills and communication coaching for autistic, ADHD, and other socially struggling teens, young adults, and their parents or caregivers. Dr. Vivek Murthy, the Surgeon General's office, his office put out an 82-page report that included social skills coaching as a recommendation to help solve this crisis. I see. I don't know why. I see that it says connecting to audio, Eric, but I don't know why you don't have any sound. There we go. Okay. And we know that loneliness is more than just a bad feeling, right? There are significant health risks, including cardiovascular disease, stroke, dementia, depression, anxiety, and premature death, which is largely due to suicide. And we know that humans are social and that we thrive in connection. Just imagine a life without a friendship. 91% of autistic youth do not have even one close friend. Imagine being bullied every day at school or at work simply because you're different. Imagine wanting to die because you're so isolated and alone. 66% of autistic youth have considered suicide, 35% have attempted, and we know that autistic people are 9 times more likely to die by suicide than their non-autistic peers. Autistic youth are 28 times more likely to attempt suicide starting at age 10. Additionally, 1 in 4 ADHD women, that's 25% of women with ADHD, will attempt suicide in their lifetime, compared to 3% for neurotypical peers. And all of these shocking statistics don't take into account the millions of people who have self-diagnosed or are languishing on waiting lists, hoping for a diagnosis and treatment. Connection is the cure. So we need to make the same progress with loneliness that we have made in addressing tobacco use, obesity, and the addiction crisis. If we fail to do so, we will pay an ever-increasing price in the form of our individual and collective health and well-being. And we will continue to splinter and divide until we can no longer stand as a community or as a country. Instead of coming together to take on the great challenges before us, we will further retreat to our corners, angry, sick, and alone. Loneliness and isolation are associated with lower academic achievement, as well as reduced performance at work. In fact, Stress-related absenteeism due to loneliness costs employers an estimated $154 billion annually. And 50% of adults in the US report experiencing loneliness, with some of the highest rates among young adults who are 2 times more likely to report feeling lonely than those even over age 60. And all of this is from the Surgeon General's report. So every level of increase in social connection corresponds with a risk reduction across many health conditions. Our proactive approach to living in a fulfilled and happy life includes this social coaching, and that was also recommended by the Surgeon General. It enhances life satisfaction, positively impacts educational achievement, improves performance in the workplace, and builds healthier communities that are safer and more prosperous. So these are just more evidence around the extent to which an individual is socially connected and the multiple factors on which it depends. The structure of, the household size, the friendship circle size, and marital status, the function to which relationships serve various needs, like emotional support, mentorship, that support in a crisis, people who will be there for you, when things go bad, people who have your back. And then there's the quality, which is the positive and negative aspects of relationships and interactions. We need relationship satisfaction. There's relationship strain, which also impacts our connections, as well as social inclusion or exclusion. While many factors may contribute to suicidality, more than a century of research has demonstrated significant links between a lack of social connection and death by suicide. This research suggests that social connection may protect against suicide as a cause of death, especially for men. So what can we do about it? So we know that those who are most at risk for loneliness are those who are neurodivergent in some way, because they face that, the thin sliced judgments, the exclusion, the ostracization, the social impoverishment. So parents and caregivers can encourage healthy social connection with peers by supporting individual friendships, by helping to facilitate those, as well as helping facilitate participation in structured activities such as volunteering, sports, community activities, and mentorship programs. So IRL Social Skills teaches UCLA's Program for the Education and Enrichment of Relational Skills, or PEERS program. It is the only evidence-based program available according to the University of North Carolina's National Clearinghouse for Autism Standards and Practices. It was developed at the Semel Institute at UCLA. Our unique value proposition is that we also add in neuroscience-backed nervous system education and somatic education. Somatic education means body awareness. And as I mentioned, ours is the only evidence-based, proven effective, empirically valid social skills program. It's been translated into 12 different languages. It's used in 150 countries. Ours has been modified. We modify it a little bit to create a more inclusive and diverse approach. which is trauma informed for our teens and young adults, and even adults 21 and up, because there has been a call. People who are late diagnosed, self-diagnosed, are like, hey, I always really struggled with these skills, and I want to improve them so that I can have a better quality of life, a more rich life. We use peers because of the intensive dosage. It is a 16-week program, and it continues to be studied, including those randomized controlled trials. As I mentioned, it's recognized as the only evidence-based social skills program available. We use the somatic method of inquiry, which is to ask questions in such a way that it draws out the answer that we want from our participants. And then the task analysis, which is the breakdown of concrete rules and steps of how to do these skills. Okay, we focus on friendships and relationships of all kinds, in fact, families have said, this should be called a family communication course, because it has helped our whole family communicate better. It is a strengths-based approach using what are called ecologically valid skills. And ecologically valid skills stands for skills that socially successful people use in real life, right? The inclusion of the parent or caregiver, someone in the role of social coach, is really important. It's training environments to help with the facilitation and generalization of these skills, the carryover of these skills to real life. It's also actively supported by the autism community. You talk with people in the autism community and they are like, yeah, social skills, you need them. And if you're going to, invest time and money, you do want to do something that is evidence-based. You do want to do something that includes neuroscience-backed nervous system education, which no other program is doing, as well as the longitudinal data that shows that the effects last over time. In fact, UCLA found that those who participated in the program even 5 years previously were having, on average, 4 get-togethers a month. That's a social life, that's your dinner with the girls. That's your pickleball game. That's your D&D game. That's your, that's your Sunday afternoon watching sports. It's like a thing that's on the calendar that you do to keep up your social ties. And our unique approach includes, both the learners and the social coaches taught concurrently via Zoom. We all start together in the same Zoom room, and then the first 15 minutes of class are devoted to that neuroscience-backed nervous system education, teaching strategies and practical skills that can be applied within the next breath. And then we break out into 2 separate Zoom rooms. The learners, the teens or young adults, are with 2 coaches, and the parents or caregivers are with 2 coaches. The team includes the coaching staff. My coaching staff includes speech language pathologists like myself, occupational therapists, mental health providers, direct support workers, learning specialists, social workers. Yeah, so we have quite a gamut of professionals, and all of us are either neurodivergent ourselves or have children who are such. There are behavioral rehearsals for the learners. So they get the lesson, they take a 5-minute break, and then they come back and they're practicing the skills within the context of their peers. The parents or social coaches, on the other hand, they are, the first part of class, they are doing the homework review. So there is homework every week. Parents or caregivers complete the homework tracker. We have that data. We discuss that data. We do troubleshooting. And we celebrate the successes, because there's a lot of success that happens in our classes. It's just really amazing. We have families have access to our interdisciplinary team for the duration of the course, and even beyond, because this is more service than like families have gotten really in years and maybe even ever, because most intervention is directed at the littles, right? Everyone wants to work with preschool and school age kids. But then what happens? We get older and social demands increase, especially at middle school, which is that ground zero for the social milieu, right? And services decrease. And what happens? You can't just go up to somebody at middle school and be like, hey, my name's Mara. You want to be my friend? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way anymore. Do you want to play? It doesn't work that way anymore. So you have to have some different skills. And our classes are not about, teaching someone to put their best normal on, right? No, it teaches them to find an accepting source of friends based on their interests, because friendships are based on common interests, and then using the skills that they learn in class to initiate, cultivate, and sustain relationships. And then when you train environments, in this case, the family, they learn how to help facilitate these skills. And because it's a pain point for parents to like watch their child struggle and to not know how to help. They're not getting help in the schools. There's like literally like there's really no services that really work, even if you're going to a private clinic, because most people they're not teaching peers. They're not doing it as the evidence base was intended, in the context, in a social context, with the power of the group. And the interdisciplinary team is really the icing on the cake that helps. We all have our different lenses. Ours is a community-based, proactive approach to mental health. And you need it. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and see if we have any questions. So, what questions do you all have for me?